The air was thick with jasmine and salt, but the scent turned sour in my throat when I saw her silhouette slip through the resort's glass doors at 2 a.m. My wife, Elena, moved like a ghost, her bare feet silent on the polished stone, her white sundress catching the moonlight before vanishing into the humid night. My heart thudded, a primal drumbeat of dread, as I lay frozen in our suite's too-soft bed. The sheets tangled around my legs like a trap. Why was she leaving? Where was she going? The questions clawed at me, sharp and relentless, until I couldn't stay still. I had to know. I pulled on a shirt, my hands trembling as I fumbled with the buttons, the fabric sticking to my clammy skin. The resort was a labyrinth of luxury, marble floors, cascading fountains, palm trees swaying like whispered secrets, but now it felt like a stage for something sinister. I crept through the shadowed lobby, the hum of the air conditioning buzzing like my own paranoia. Outside, the night was alive with the chirp of crickets and the distant crash of waves, but Elena was nowhere. My eyes darted to the path leading to the private beach, where the sand glowed silver under the moon. A flicker of white caught my gaze, her dress, disappearing behind a cluster of palms. My breath hitched, shallow and sharp, as I followed. Doubt gnawed at me. Maybe she couldn't sleep. Maybe she needed air. But why sneak? Why not wake me? We'd been married 7 years, built a life of shared coffee mornings and late-night talks, her laughter filling the cracks in my flaws. Yet lately, her smiles had felt rehearsed, her touches fleeting. I'd dismissed it as stress, her new promotion, the long hours. But now, each step through the sand felt like wading through quicksand, pulling me deeper into a truth I wasn't ready to face. The beach was deserted, the waves a low growl against the shore. I crouched behind a dune, my pulse hammering in my ears, and saw her. Elena stood near the water's edge, her hair loose and wild, catching the breeze. She wasn't alone. A man, tall, broad-shouldered, his face obscured by shadow, stood too close, his hand grazing her arm. My stomach lurched, while rising as I watched her lean into his touch. Her laugh soft but unmistakable. The same laugh she'd given me when we danced at our wedding. My vision blurred. Not from tears but from rage, confusion, and something heavier. Grief for a trust one hadn't known was already broken. I wanted to scream, to charge forward and demand answers, but my legs wouldn't move. My mind raced, stitching together fragments of the past months. Her late nights at the office. The password she'd changed on her phone. The way she'd flinched when I'd asked about her coworker, Mark, the one she mentioned too often. Was that him? The man's silhouette shifted, and I glimpsed his face, sharp jaw, dark hair. Not Mark. A stranger. Somehow that was worse. Elena. I whispered to myself, the word a wound. I edged closer, the sand cold beneath my feet, each grain a tiny blade against my soles. Their voices carried, low and intimate, words I couldn't fully catch but felt like knives. Can't keep doing this, she said, her tone a mix of guilt and defiance. He'll find out. The man murmured something, his hand cupping her cheek, and she didn't pull away. My chest tightened, as if the air itself had turned to glass, shattering with every breath. I should have confronted them. I should have stormed out, let my anger erupt like a storm. But I didn't. I stayed hidden, a coward in my own story, because part of me still wanted to believe there was an explanation. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe she was planning a surprise, a twisted anniversary gift. My mind churned, grasping at straws, but each one snapped under the weight of what I'd seen. I retreated, my footsteps heavy, the resort's lights blurring into halos as I stumbled back to our suite. The room smelled of her perfume, citrus and betrayal. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the crumpled pillow where her head had rested just hours ago. My hands shook as I opened her suitcase, driven by a desperate need for proof, for something to make this real or unravel it entirely. Her clothes were neatly folded, but beneath them, I found a burner phone, cheap and black, its screen lighting up with a single notification. Meet me tomorrow. Same place. The room spun. My heart was a fist, pounding against my ribs. I wanted to hurl the phone against the wall, to shatter it like she'd shattered us. Instead, I clutched it, my knuckles white, as if holding it could hold back the truth. When Elena returned, her footsteps soft in the hallway, I hid the phone and forced my face into a mask of calm. You're awake, she said, her voice too bright, her eyes avoiding mine as she slipped off her sandals. Sand dusted her feet, a silent confession. Couldn't sleep, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Where were you? Her pause was a heartbeat too long. Just needed some air. The beach is beautiful at night. Her smile was fragile, a cracked veneer. I nodded, swallowing the urge to scream. Yeah, beautiful. The word tasted like ash. We lay in bed, inches apart but oceans away, her breathing even while mine was a jagged rhythm. I stared at the ceiling, the shadows twisting like my thoughts. Was I enough? Had I failed her? Or was she just someone I never truly knew? The next day, the resort's cheerfulness mocked me. Children splashing in the pool, couples laughing over cocktails. Elena was all warmth, her hand brushing mine as we ate breakfast, her chatter about snorkeling plans too perfect, too practiced. I played along, my smiles tight, my eyes scanning for the man from the beach. I saw him at the bar that evening, his gaze locking with Elena's for a fraction of a second before she looked away. My blood boiled, but I waited. That night, I didn't follow her. I didn't need to. The burner phone buzzed in my pocket, a message from her lover. I can't stop thinking about you. I typed a reply, my fingers trembling. Meet me now. By the pier. I sent it, my heart a war drum, and slipped out into the night. The pier was desolate, the waves crashing like my pulse. He arrived first, his silhouette unmistakable. Then Elena, her dress a pale flag in the dark. They didn't see me, hidden in the shadows, as I recorded their whispers, their touches, their promises to leave me behind. My phone's red light blinked, capturing every word, every lie. Back in the suite, I waited. When she returned, I was sitting up, the phone on the bed between us. Care to explain? I asked, my voice cold, holding up the burner phone. Her face crumpled, guilt and fear flashing in her eyes. James, she started, but I cut her off, playing the recording. Her voice, his voice, their betrayal filled the room like poison. I loved you, I said, my voice breaking, not from sadness but from the weight of my own clarity. But you're not the woman I married. She sobbed, reaching for me, but I stepped back. The twist wasn't her affair. It was me walking away, leaving her with the wreckage of her choices. I booked a flight home, alone, the resort's jasmine scent fading behind me, replaced by the sharp, clean air of a new beginning.